Hi. I wanted to come on today to talk about FUNKHEAD and the program that I run for stressed and anxious teenagers. But I'm probably going to be talking to the parents. So what I wanted to do was to explain to you the way it runs. And that is by during 5 1-hour sessions. And if I'm working one-on-one, we'll talk about one-on-one first. So I work in groups, or I work one-on-one, I work in schools, I've done one day, sorry, my chair's just sinking. I've run one day intensive courses as well. So if I'm working one-on-one with somebody, for instance, we have 5 1-hour sessions. And in that time, we go through the schedule, the curriculum, the syllabus for the course. And still my chair is disappearing, making me fall down. And during that time, to start with, what happens is that I get the youngster to check in with themselves. It's a self-evaluation process right from the beginning. And in fact, when I do that, I'm setting the scene for them to continue to do that self-evaluation process throughout their lives. I think we all need to know how we're feeling, and we're quite often, many of us, used to just trundling through life and just doing it by default somehow. Whereas there is much about life that we can change. A lot of things are our choice. And that's what I try and get over to them in this process, in the FUNKHEAD process, is that there are techniques, there are ways to change, there are habits that they can bring into their lives to actually change the way that they feel, see life, the success they're having, and so on. So that's why I want to start with the self-evaluation, because it's only when you evaluate what is working or not, evaluate how you are in the moment, that you will then know whether you need to start bringing something else into the future for yourself, habit-wise. So we start with self-evaluation. It's not just self-evaluation, because I give them some background in stress and anxiety and so on. But I do start to bring in this idea that stress is something that will go through life with you. You don't have to take it on day by day, but life brings things up. We all know, and I would be very surprised if anybody hasn't. We all know that life, life has a way of smacking us in the head sometimes with issues, or with events, or with something, and so I want them to understand that that is what happens. That is normal, and it's their response to it that they can change, the way they feel about it, and to understand where they're being triggered. So I do use a little bit of the cognitive behavioral CBT training, which is around, where are we triggered by this stuff? And so once they start to get an idea, this is in sort of sessions 1 and 2, they start to get into this self-evaluation, they understand where they stand. And then after that, they start to look at what's happening in their own lives, in their own heads, and how they then, how they can then make the choice to change the way that they're reacting to things. And I'm using my trademarked 3A success system, program, process, and that is the 3A's stand for analyze, alleviate, and automate. And in the second session, we go into the beginning of that, so they get the analyze session. So I'll leave that with you. That's sessions 1 and 2, more or less. I'll explain more another time. So food for thought. FUNKHEAD you can, I will put the, I'll put the link in the comments.